Hello and welcome to another Matura Express English stream. Today is our first stream in the new year. Be continued. So, welcome back in the new year 2019 and we're gonna start with the topic traveling and tourism. Very interesting topic and very important topic for Austria, especially since we have a lot of tourism and we basically live of it, or whole valleys do. Yeah. We gonna have a look at today's overview of the stream, and we're gonna start with the overview of the topic traveling and tourism. So all about what you should know in order to successfully complete or pass the oral exam. Then we're gonna talk about types of tourists and their interests. Then we're gonna talk about Austria as a tourist destination, followed by the impacts of tourism in Austria. And then we're gonna have a look at the impacts of terror and travel warnings. And in the end, as always, we're gonna have a look at a demonstration exam that in this case it is about the impact of terror and travel warnings.
We have a comment.
Yeah.
It's Andy. Hello Matura Express. In the new year it is essential to know some facts and dates about traveling, for example the overnight stays in our hometown. Oh, it's a question. Is it essential to know some facts and dates about the overnight stays?
I think it's very helpful to know about your hometown, some facts, overnight stays, because if you know it, you can integrate it in the oral exam. So for example, if you're in the monologue or in the dialogue part of the oral exam, you can integrate your knowledge, your specific knowledge you know about your hometown, and basically impress the examiner with your knowledge about those facts and dates. I think it's very, very helpful for you, yes. Do you agree?
Yeah, but of course the exact numbers, I mean, would be great, but...
Yeah, rough numbers. You don't have to learn everything by heart. Just as a side information, maybe it's interesting, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for your comment. If you have any other questions, we are here to answer it, and yeah, we will do so during our stream and even afterwards. So we're gonna continue with the overview of the topic traveling and tourism. So basically what you should know as a student is you should know about tourism in Austria, in Tyrol, and trends in tourism in Tyrol. Are there any new trends, or can you compare it to past trends maybe, and future trends, any developments? And then, of course, the impact of tourism on a tourist region. Tyrol or developing countries is maybe a bit more difficult for you than talking about Tyrol, of course, since most of you are living there. And then you should also know about the types of tourism. So very general, not speaking about Austria or Tyrol. and the benefits of a holiday in Austria. What benefits are there? And then, of course, very important is the chapter Traveling and Tourism in the book Englisch für die Berufsreifeprüfung, Hauptmodul B2. You'll find everything about the topic in this book, but you should also use the internet to research different facts or data, or as Andy has mentioned, overnight stays. You don't have to learn every numbers by heart. It's just to know a few facts that you can integrate in the oral exam, which will help you to to gain knowledge and to impress your examiner. And of course, if there are maybe some current topics you can talk about, especially now, a current topic is traffic. The last few weeks, or the last week actually, there was a lot of traffic in the valleys of Tyrol, on the streets in Tyrol and in Austria. And of course, a lot of traffic then leads to traffic jams. You have to calculate more and more hours for maybe a 30-minute drive or something. That's an impact, actually, and that's a current topic, pardon me, that of course has an impact on the tourists, but also on the locals. And there are, of course, different opinions on how those problems can be solved. Actually, I think it's very difficult to solve such a problem, since it also depends on the weather. And we all know driving in snow is not that pleasant, especially for people that are not used to it. It's also very dangerous. So yeah, it's a very current topic. And of course, all the avalanches that are happening and people being trapped in the valleys and so on. So very important, try to include a current topic that's widely discussed in Austria, or try to look up some tourist facts about Tyrol and Austria in general, of course. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the types of tourists and their interests. So basically what I've listed here is the types of tourism, which of course goes hand in hand with the types of tourists and their interests. I first listed the types of holidays, but yeah, I think it's do we have another comment?
Yeah, Andy answered. Thank you for your answer. I totally agree with you. It is better to know some general facts and do not go into detail. Thank you for answering.
Yes, you're welcome, Andy. And as I've said, if you have any other questions, feel free to answer us.
And we have one more comment.
Yes.
Today. New year, new luck. It's from Michael, and he says traffic jams will always be a big issue for Tyrol in the winter months.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true, Michael. It will always be a problem. Yes, unfortunately, we have to live with it. I don't know if there is a solution. I can't think of any proper solution that will satisfy every party. But yes, I guess we have to live with it. But thank you for your constructive comment. We're gonna continue with the types of holidays. Of course, there is activity holiday, which involves activities such as hiking, skiing, and other activity, maybe rafting or climbing in summer, or if you like to use your sleigh or something in winter months, also very common thing to do. Or adventure holiday, of course, adventure holidays are normally not a typical holiday that revolves around a hotel or a motel. It's often in wildlife and involves camping. Maybe you have an RV or something that enables you to just stay wherever you want and camp outside. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, we have one more comment.
Yeah.
It's from Patrick, and he says, hello everybody. To my mind, this is a very current topic for all of us who live in Tyrol. This could be an advantage during the exam because we are able to name personal experiences.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very, very good comment, actually, and a very good idea to use your personal experience and mention it in the exam. Of course, you should focus on the main topic of the exam you have picked, but of course it's very good if you can integrate it to your exam. Maybe also in the follow-up discussion or follow-up question that you will be asked from the examiner board, you can use it. But I think, yeah, you have to be a bit spontaneous if you want to use such knowledge or such an experience you made. Yeah, but I think it's a very good idea. Yeah, thank you for your comment too. Yeah, okay. Of course, we also have backpacking holiday. We have the typical beach holiday, camping holiday, city trip, farm holiday, even farm holiday. Yes, if you are not a person who grew up on a farm maybe, and you want to experience farm life, you can do so by booking a farm holiday. And you can then walk with sheep and cattle and pigs. Yeah, no. Of course, there's party holiday. I'm not a party holiday guy. Yeah, I think it depends on the age, but yeah. Safari, big thing, especially in Africa. But there is also like different safaris. I think, I don't know, not only in Africa. Yeah.
I don't know.
Skiing holiday, what else? And of course there are types of tourism. You can also look more of them up on the internet. There's ecotourism. What is ecotourism? If you are a person who wants to reduce the carbon footprint of yourself, then ecotourism is the best thing for you. I think the best thing to do for you. Normally ecotourism involves not only traveling by public transportation such as bus or train, but also involves hotels or motels that are very concerned about our environment and maybe focus around using less water or reducing waste and all the stuff that you should do in order to save our environment. And of course there is disaster tourism. I think that's the most questionable kind of tourism.
Yeah, we also have a question about disaster tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's again from Michael. What do you think about dark tourism? I mean, that's the same as disaster tourism. So, anyway, so is it okay to talk about it, or could this topic be dangerous because it is a new way to spend the holidays?
I don't think it's dangerous actually. So talking about it's not dangerous. To do dark tourism is of course dangerous, or is a bit. Yeah, it involves sites and war zones and where it is not clear if something can happen or not. So if you want to talk about it, if it fits to the topic, of course, you're fine to talk about it. It's there is no you shouldn't have any worries to talk about dark tourism. But of course, you should be able to kind of distinguish the types of tourism and name the different aspects what you associate with the different types of tourism. But to mention it, it's fine. So don't be afraid to talk about it. Of course, it should fit the topic you picked. If it's tourism in Austria, maybe, yeah, dark tourism is not the tourism you should talk about. But of course, if it's general about tourism, international tourism, you can mention some sites, countries you associate with dark tourism, or where dark tourism can be done. Yeah. Okay, yeah, as Mike has mentioned, or Mike? As Michael has mentioned, there is also dark tourism. There are other forms of tourism, but those go kind of hand in hand with the types of holidays I've mentioned. I generally like to do adventure tourism or adventure holidays, since I think it's the most attractive for me, of course. I'm not a beach holiday guy, but yeah, depends on the person, of course. Or sports tourism or something, it's very interesting, I think. Of course, sightseeing is also a big issue, or a big part of tourism, which goes hand in hand with the city trip holiday thing. Okay, now we're gonna talk about Austria as a tourist destination. So the main types of Austrian tourism are, of course, skiing tourism, hiking tourism, city trips, and adventure tourism. I think there is also like spa holidays, or what else? There might be ecotourism. I think less disaster tourism and less dark tourism, but those are the four main branches I'd say to that we associate with the Austrian tourism. If you have any other types of tourism that fit Austria, just write it in the comments below this video, and we will comment on it. Yes, and now we're going to talk about the impact of tourism in Austria, which is, I think, a very important topic, especially when we talk about Austrian tourism. And I think it's a very easy topic for those of you who grew up in Austria and grew up maybe in Tyrol. I've just written down some facts. So 10% of the gross domestic product, which is the Bruttoinlandsprodukt in Austria, is made with tourism. And Austria, it should be a part actually here. Let's do this now. So tourism is 10%. Okay. Austria ranked, so it's what in 2013 I think, Austria ranked 13th worldwide with 24.8 million international tourist arrivals, which is a lot, especially for Austria. And of course, most overnight stays are in February, July and August. I think those figures are still from 2013, so maybe it has changed. So be sure to look up the more recent study. It's just to show you the basic impacts of tourism in Austria, so that you have a kind of reference point where to start, or where and most winter destinations, or most visited winter destinations, are of course Sölden, Ischgl, Saalbach, Hinterglemm, and so on, St. Anton, and we all know it, Obertauern. And most visited summer destinations are Vienna, Salzburg, Innsbruck. There's also the Salzkammergut in Wachau, but very general. If you know it, it's very good, of course. It's very easy to remember, I think. Vienna is known for tourism, Salzburg, Innsbruck you experience if you walk through Innsbruck in summer or winter. And I think it's a really easy topic to talk about, and which helps you, of course, to brag with your knowledge you know about Austrian tourism, or maybe local tourism. And of course, an impact of tourism is also snow farming. It's also on the next slide where I mentioned the drawbacks of the impact of tourism. Snow farming. What is snow farming? Some of you might know it from the area of Kitzbühel. So snow farming is actually the conserving or the preservance of snow during summer times, or during those times where it's not that cold, so that the snow melts. And snow farming is usually realized through different kinds of techniques. You can look it up online. And I think it's also, of course, an impact of tourism, since the areas where we and the tourists go skiing, they need snow, of course, and they need snow maybe in October or the beginning of November. So therefore, snow farming is the new thing and can be counted as an impact of tourism in Austria, which is also a drawback. So it is connected with, of course, a lot of money, a lot of work, and yeah, it depends. Opinions, there are different opinions on this topic, but I just wanted to mention it also as a drawback. What else drawback we also I've mentioned it actually, and we talked about it in our discussion before. The increasing traffic, of course, is a drawback of the tourism. And of course, in connection with increasing traffic, there is also the increasing CO2 emissions, which is a very obvious thing, I guess. And at this point, I wanted to ask you, what about the preservation of nature? Can the preservation of nature be an impact of tourism, or better to say, do we have to preserve our nature better because of tourism? What do you think? If you have an idea, let us know in the comments, and we're gonna go further with the impact of terror and travel warnings. Basically, of course, travel warnings involve different aspects. There are, of course, terror warnings, there are disaster, so natural catastrophes, or maybe political turmoil or something, or diseases even, that cause travel warnings. And normally travel warnings are issued by the Foreign Ministry in Austria, so you can look it up on their website if there are ever any travel warnings to the country you want to travel. If there are, so you'd better stay at home or choose another country. Yes, and according to statistics, terror attacks have the least impact on tourism, which is very interesting since, of course, terror attacks can happen everywhere. We don't know when somebody feels the need to make an attack on a city or different people. And very interesting that it has the least impact on tourism amongst the other factors such as diseases or political turmoil or environmental disasters. And the average recovery time after a terror attack is only 13 months. So after 13 months, the numbers of overnight stays and tourists that come to those places that experienced a tourist attack are then again are the same as before the terror attack, actually. As an example, I found it in the article where about natural disasters worse for tourism than terror attacks by Hugh Morris. He has written an article for The Telegraph. And after 9/11, US visitor levels, they dropped tremendously, and not until 2007 visitor levels returned to pre-attack figures. So that's something different, maybe because it was that big an attack, or yeah, we don't know the real factors, but I just wanted to mention it. Maybe if you know such facts, it's good for you, but of course you don't necessarily have to know all the facts. Another question I wanted to ask you is if you would visit a country that has just experienced a terror attack or a similar to disaster. It doesn't have to be a terror attack, but maybe an environmental disaster or disease or something. At this point of time, I wanted to ask if we have any answers for our first question, which was about the preservation of nature.
No, we don't know. But
Okay.
I had a quick discussion with Michael about the Netflix series Dark Tourist. Do you know that?
No.
It's about dark tourism, so for people who are interested in dark tourism, it's on Netflix.
Okay, so there is a series on Netflix that is called Dark Tourism.
Yeah, Dark Tourist.
Dark Tourist.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know about the topic or about dark tourism, Mike suggests you should watch it. No, yeah. I think it's a good way to, and thank you for mentioning it, Mike, that you can learn with the help of Netflix. Be sure to watch it in English with German or English subtitles. I'd like to watch it with English subtitles, of course. Yeah. So if you're interested in this topic and you want to know more about it and you don't want to look up everything on the internet, just watch Netflix in this case. Thanks again, Mike. And so if we don't have, yeah, now it works. If we don't have any answers for both of those questions, I'd like to continue with the demonstration exam analysis of traveling and tourism, the impact of terror and travel warnings, and I'm gonna show you the exam so that you have an idea how the exams look like. But you should know by now, but if you don't know how exams look like, so now it works, I think, yeah. I will show you, of course. So now I think it's better. So at first, as always, I'm sorry, you will be asked some questions about your career and future plans as an introduction, just to loosen up a bit and to get you in the exam mode and English speaking mode, of course. It's very important so that you can better focus after your preparation time. And in this case, task 1 is about modern tourism. This task, of course, is the monologue where you speak, only you speak, and the speaking time is limited to 4 minutes. So to be sure to prepare yourself properly in order to speak not too long or too less, or yeah, so that you are basically on point. Of course, there are a few minutes over is not that bad, but if it's too short, it's not really good. Too long isn't that good either, but I think it's better than too short. And in this case, the situation is that you are a travel agent at a well-known travel agency, and you have been asked to hold a presentation in front of your colleagues about modern tourism. Then your task is to give a brief introductory talk to your colleagues about modern tourism in general. You should talk about modern tourism. I'm sorry, what modern tourism is and why traveling has become so popular in recent years. The different types or forms of tourism and the perils, so the dangers of traveling and tourism nowadays. If you have completed this task 1, you can move on to task 2. And task 2 is then all about the impact of travel warnings. So after you talk, you open the discussion up to questions about the impact of terror and travel warnings from your audience. And of course, you should use the information from the attached text, Natural disasters worse for tourism than terror attacks. And of course, your own knowledge. Be sure to that you know how the dialogue works. Dialogue involves 2 people, as a dialogue says. So you are also asked questions, and therefore you have to be prepared to be able to answer those questions properly. And of course, if you have completed task 2, then it's time to do the follow-up discussion. In this case, it's just about general questions about the topic traveling and tourism. So shouldn't be a problem anymore, I think, yeah. Yes, so that's basically how those exams look and how an exam, in this case, on the topic of travel and tourism could look like. Of course, we're not gonna use the same exams in the oral exam, but I hope you gained a lot of knowledge with our stream today, our first stream in this year. And the next stream is actually with Maria, I think, on Wednesday. Yeah? Do you know the topic?
No, it's talking about the past tenses.
Oh yeah, so on Wednesday there's a stream on past tenses with Maria. Very important topic, very interesting topic, and yeah. With those words, I'd like to say goodbye to you. I hope we answered all questions, comments. Yes, and I wish you a very pleasant evening. Goodbye.